It's a conspiracy theory speedrun. The name is in the title. 4 conspiracies. Let's jump into it. So the first thing I have is dead internet theory. So this is something that I feel like is hard to argue against. Basically what it states is around 2016, the internet effectively died and was replaced by AI and bots. That's what fills the majority of the internet nowadays. And, I completely agree with this one. I have seen it firsthand. I firmly believe, I see it every day where I'm like, these are bots. These are not real people. When you look at things like bot farms, so bot farms used to be a conspiracy. People used to not think they were real, but they are. There are literally these setups where there's hundreds, if not thousands of phones plugged into all these GPUs and these processing units with software attached. And what they do is they're constantly just engaging with different posts and constantly commenting with different posts. And honestly, using even a basic AI like a response bot, that would not be hard to program. And so, you also look at things like comment sections, which are extremely scripted. You see the same things written over and over. A lot of times I'll go into comment sections on like TikTok and I'll see people saying super basic things like good, yes, great. Things that are so obviously just spammy AI comments. And then you look on like Twitter, we have repetitive memes being used over and over and over. A lot of these accounts I have blocked personally. I hate them. But I do believe the internet has been taken over by bots and AI. I think it's hard to argue against. Let me know what you think in the comments about all these theories, by the way. And number 2, we have simulation theory. So simulation theory is one of those that's hard to prove. It's also hard to disprove. So it's one of those things where you can say it, you can swear by it, but the theory itself is hard to prove. But basically what it states is that we are living in a false reality. We are living essentially in a video game. We're living in this simulation that has been programmed by someone, some outside force, and we're all just sort of being, dangled on a string, and we're just living out our code, our binary. And this is something that I've sort of tossed back and forth. I don't know how I've felt about this for a long time, but I don't discount this theory as not being true. Elon Musk has said that he believes this is, at least has a decent chance to be true. When you think about things like deja vu, glitches, a lot of things that people experience sort of globally and universally, it's weird, some of the things that we go through. And there's, again, these little glitches, these little blips that we can't really understand. Deja vu feels all too real. And, one big argument I think for simulation theory is the fact that our universe operates obviously in physics. Physics operates in math. Math would technically be a programmable element to our universe, which controls how we exist. I thought that was a very interesting sort of idea whenever I was doing research for this video. And so dead internet theory, absolutely, I believe in it. Simulation theory, I would say 50-50. I don't exactly know. It would be hard for us to know. It would be probably impossible for us to know. So there's no way to say definitively. Number 3, we have the moon landing. So I'll admit, for most of my life, people who have said the moon landing was fake, I dismiss them as being just, you're way too over the top with conspiracies. I never really believed in that whatsoever. And I never even really wanted to participate in the conversations. But in the past few years, I'm one of those people who has sort of opened the door for the possibility of this being a thing. And let me explain. So the moon landing hoax obviously is pretty basic. It states that we didn't actually land on the moon in 1969 when we said we did, and that it was basically all just one big sham because there was this huge space race going on. Everyone wanted to get to the moon first, and we just wanted to claim to be the first, which does sound like something America would do. The biggest argument, so what people say is that if you look at the, all the setup for the moon landing, and you look at things like shadows, you look at the movement of the American flag, such as people say, oh, is it wind? I think a lot of those things have been debunked largely. But honestly, one of the biggest pieces of evidence for me, and this is probably a weak piece of evidence, but it sort of is what turned my head to this, is the fact that since 1969, and then in 1972, we've never been back to the moon with humans. So that's 50 plus years where in 50 plus years, we have seen technology advance rapidly. So if we had this technology back in 1969, you would think we would have the technology to easily go to the moon multiple times in 2025, whenever we want to, really. It shouldn't be this huge thing. And we've never, ever been back. And when you ask why, you get things like, oh, it deals with contracts and funding, or we really haven't needed to. But again, that just seems like something that's weird. And so with this one, I'm not on board fully, but I think there's a tiny chance. So dead internet theory, I believe in. The simulation theory, 50-50. Moon landing, I'm going to say no. I'd give it like a solid 20% maybe. And lastly, we have the CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. So a lot of people don't know what this is. So there is this huge Large Hadron, that sounds redundant, huge. There's this huge Hadron Collider in CERN, Switzerland that was turned on in 2008. And I'm not going to try to explain the physics because I'm going to sound like I'm an idiot. But basically there's these huge, massive tunnels that have been constructed meticulously to fire protons at each other at essentially the speed of light, very close to the speed of light. And the purpose is that they collide. And when they collide, they then produce, I believe, subatomic particles. But basically the idea is you're producing new matter, and they're trying to discover how the universe was created in such a way. And when you're dealing with physics at this scale, it's kind of scary because it just sounds very, very intense, and things can go wrong in these huge experiments. I mean, these tunnels, I believe, stretch like miles. This isn't like something that's just in a small building. And what's interesting is in 2008, when it was turned on, a lot of people from that point apparently claim to have experienced deja vu. That's around when a lot of people claim deja vu started to become very, very real. Excuse me, I misspoke. I'm not going to start over, but people claim the Mandela effect, not deja vu, the Mandela effect, sorry, back in 2008. And the Mandela effect is this idea that you start to sort of misremember your childhood. You sort of misremember details, you misremember logos, and things that you swear are ingrained in your brain that aren't actually there. And so it's just interesting how those two things sort of coincide with each other. And so do I think this has a probability of, did we open a portal? Was there a split in reality? I truthfully don't know. I don't give this one a ton of credence, but again, it's one of these things that's hard to prove. It's hard to say what exactly happened unless they're hiding something. Who knows? But I thought that was a very interesting one to throw in this video. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. You guys find these to be interesting? And if you enjoy this speedrun, please leave a like. I would love to do another one of these. I'm trying to sort of pivot my channel into more of a fun thinking channel. And I'd love to do more videos like this. So appreciate you guys watching if you stayed until the end of the video. And as always, I will see you in the next one.